Hello and welcome. This is Enlightened Connections, a space where unseen threads are illuminated. Between people and spirit, between animals and their humans, and between the everyday and the extraordinary. I'm your host, Lisa Aston Michael, medium, healer, and animal communicator. And I invite you each week to join me as I share conversations and practices that bring light, healing, and connection into your world. Welcome to Enlightened Connections. And today I am delighted to welcome my very special guest, Kathy Lather. Kathy and I first met. She reminded me, actually, we first met at the Ask Animals Anything workshop for Australia Zoo Wildlife Warriors many years ago, and it's a pleasure to have her here today. Kathy is a psychic, a healer, and an author who works closely with the angelic realm to bring peace, love, and guidance into people's lives. Kathy's journey began just before her 40th birthday when she first met Archangel Michael, an experience that opened the door to a lifelong partnership with angels. That must be phenomenal. I'm so excited to talk to Kathy about that one. And I also want to mention, most importantly, she's the author of the Afterlife Mentor. And I've read this book, and I can assure you it is a beautiful and practical guide to understanding life, death, and the spirit world. So I am so excited to welcome her here today as we explore her journey and the wisdom that she's gained along the way. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for inviting me onto Enlightened Connections. I'm so excited to talk with you today.
Oh, it's great to have you here. There is so much to talk to you about. But first of all, I want to go way back. What first drew you to the work that you're doing?
Wow. I grew up in a pretty interesting family. My beautiful Nana, she used to refer to myself and some other family members as Fae. Obviously, when we're little, we don't really understand that it's an English term for intuitive. And she was very good at making sure we kept our clairs open. So we used to play a lot of memory. We used to play a lot of card games. She used to help us get into what I class as my dream state. She would be very good at talking us down, as I now know as meditation, and she would be able to get us to connect in and pass on messages. She had a daughter who passed quite young, Teresa, and her spirit was always in the home. So I used to play with that spirit quite a lot as a child. And so I was always passing on messages to my nan. It was probably giving her confirmation. I'm sure she was just as open as what we were as children. But it really, I was always the person who could predict the pregnancy. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? I was always that person that listened to their gut instinct because I was brought up to do so. And I feel like I was really, really lucky in that regard. I was always, used to go to the barbecues and you were the ones that could just give the messages. So you have no idea why. There's no training really needed. It's just being open and allowing to use your clairs and to practice it. Because I had a beautiful Nana and great-gran. Great-gran was very good at healing. If you walked in and there was a pot boiling on the stove and it stank, you knew you were getting doused for something disgusting. But they were the ones that kept the magic alive in my life. But it wasn't until 2 weeks prior my 40th birthday when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and then they found a larger cyst. I nicknamed him Cyril because he was 9.5 kilos in my stomach, that, stuff really started to get real. And it was an interesting part of my life, and it was a big push in my spiritual journey as to where I am now.
That's beautiful that you came from a family that not only recognised the gifts in you, but had their own gifts as well, a very supporting environment. And you've mentioned a couple of times about the clairs that you have. Just for the listeners that may not know what the clairs are, can you cover that briefly for them?
Yeah, we all come into this world with our beautiful clear senses. We tend to concentrate more on the main senses that doctors want to look at when we're doing our milestones as when we have children. So they always check that our eyesight is good, that our hearing is good, that we can talk, that we have good movement. Our clear senses, most people know clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is connected to clear sight. That has to do with seeing visions, seeing images, seeing spirit. Clairsentience is all about being able to connect in, hear the messages. That's clairaudience. Oh, pick me up here, Lisa. So we have a lot of clairs, just like we do our normal senses in our bodies, but we find that we tend to shut them down with children when they start to go to school. Because when kids are really little, they always tend to have an imaginary friend, or they see people, because children see colour, they see people's auras really easily, they see animals' auras really easy. They're able to know who to trust and who not to trust. So when we start to see children drawing outside of the lines, or drawing in a colour of a face green, because green to me is your heart chakra. Whenever I see green, I know that that person's a good person to trust. As a child would see that person, and then we go, no, darling, that person isn't green. That person is, tanned or white, or however you want to say it. So we limit the kids. And we kind of dim their chakras. But when you sit down and talk to young children, always take the time to talk to young children, because they're just blessed and they're still so very open. They can probably talk to you about anyone who's crossed over, because they would have met them on the other side in the spiritual realm before coming here. They would have met all your past pets. They would be able to see the energy of past pets in the home. And they can even pass on information about their past lives. Are really cool. People should talk to them more often, because they come with unlimited knowledge.
They really are. And, you think to yourself, I know for myself at school, always on the report card, Lisa would do better if she paid attention. Lisa daydreams. And so many kids, so many children, that when they're daydreaming, we're really connecting. We don't know at that time we're connecting with spirit or with our higher selves. We're just daydreaming about imaginings, or I don't know really how to describe it, but I'm with you on that. I think children are so open to so much, and we feel things as well. We feel, as children, the energy of other people.
Sure,
children. And babies, some people with babies, when babies look at me, their faces like terror. It's just terror. It's like, I think, oh my God, what have I got around me? But animals, fine. But babies, big issue with me. So they just, scrinkle their face and then they start crying. And I think, oh, interesting thing. I never had kids. So you grew up with this, and did you reach a point, or when did you reach a point, more to the point, when did you reach the point where you felt this was something that you needed or wanted to do with your life, this spiritual work?
Well, this isn't going to make me sound very spiritual at all, but I had my child. I had my one and only daughter. I discovered I like sleep, so I only had one child. I did lose quite a few before having Tegan, but we stopped after Tegan, and I said to my husband, I want to be a real mum. I want to be a stay-at-home mum. I want to enjoy her and absolutely love her to death. And I said to him, I can make grocery monies by doing readings while she's asleep. So there goes my CBA bank career. Hello. I hung up my little sign. I said, I am a psychic medium. Come to me. I'll give you a reading. Back in those days, because she's 26 now, I used to pay, and people used to pay me between 20 and $40 for a reading. Excuse me. Inflation has grown the costs of readings because of all the expenses that you now know you have to have. But that's how I first started, because I knew I had this knack and I knew I was able to give people information, and it used to go not fully understanding it. The more you do it, the more practice you have in it, and the more you sit with yourself and go with your guides, your spirit guides, your animals, all of those spiritual team. Obviously, I work with angels a lot because I love their beautiful angelic energy. And hell, I saw Archangel Michael. He's the highest angel you can meet. So, of course, I call it Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, as well as Mother Mary and Jesus, into my healings all the time. So I have a really, I want to say, beautiful life because I feel so safe and at peace, and I connect with my spiritual team so that I can do the readings and help people. I can do the workshops and help people find their own way. And the angels really pushed me to write this book. I never thought I would write a book, ever.
I'm going to talk about that book in a little bit.
Yeah, but they really forced me into doing it, and it's a growth experience for me as well. I mean, I'm really enjoying all the lovely feedback I'm getting from it, but I learned as well. And this is the thing, you never stop learning. And when you find this beautiful connection with spirit, you will feel so much happier and you will feel so much safe and you will be able to manifest so much better in your life. So I encourage everyone to do it.
Yes, it's interesting that when, as a child, most children see spirit or have that connection, but it's later on in life. It's almost as if you sort of start off on that path. You start off being connected spiritually, even though you don't realize you are. And then life kicks in, or hormones kick in, or the teenage years kick in, and you go off onto some, external day job where you become a this or you become a that. And because that's kind of how we're pushed and prodded and programmed into society. But then at some point, I tend to feel that at some point, if you've had that gift as a child, at some point after you've done your thing and led your life the way that you thought you were supposed to, spirit has a way, and I use the word spirit encompassing guides, angels, people in the spirit world, loved ones in the spirit world. They come back at some point and go, righto, you've had your fun. Now we need you to do some work for us. We need you to be there for us. And they create different ways. So for some people, they might see spirit and think, oh my gosh, what does that mean? What's happened? And they embark on this journey to uncover it. Other people just have a kind of awakening of a different kind. Yours was angelic. How did you meet the angels? What happened?
Just to preset this, and my husband didn't even know what was going on in my life until he read my book, so this was very interesting. At that point of time in my life, I was 39. I was not hanging around the best people, okay? I was not hanging around. I had a lot of greed, a lot of envy in my life. I was always arguing with my husband, why don't we live in a better house? Why don't we have better cars? Such and such down the road has a BMW. They go overseas all the time. I was hanging around people that, yes, I wasn't partaking in the drugs, but they were partaking in drugs. I was drinking a lot more. If anyone knows anything in the spiritual realm, you do not do substances of any type when you're working in the spiritual world. And I was not happy with my life. When you are going so far off track of what you have requested to learn in this life, which is I've always been taught as your book of life, spirit will do something to you that will just stop you in your tracks. In my case, it was a medical emergency. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in my left breast on my 40th. And then they discovered this huge cyst growing in my stomach, which was massive. And they just said to my husband, I can remember before going in for surgery, they'd already taken care of the tumours. The doctors kept saying they were finding 3 tumours in my left breast, and Archangel Michael kept saying there's 4. I was really lucky that I had a good surgeon, and he believed. It's amazing how many medical people are very spiritual people. And he said, we will make sure we get all the tumours out. After that particular surgery, he came and said, we did find 4 tumours, Kath. You were quite correct. We did get all 4. So that situation was good. With the cyst, I can remember they saying to my husband, it was some ridiculously long theatre. It was over 12 hours. They left him in the waiting room with, well, if this is cancerous, she's probably got 2 weeks, but we'll find out. Thankfully, it wasn't cancerous. It was just a huge build-up of like endometriosis within my body, but it was pushing out my stomach and it was going up into my rib cage so I couldn't breathe. So they had to slice and dice all that up with keyhole surgery. Very blessed for all these very clever medical people that can help us in this way. Right. But that put me on hold for 12 months. And guess what? In that 12 months of doing chemo and doing radiation, I really learned who my real friends were, and they weren't my party friends. And it really made me, I had to, because I was on chemo, I could not. I'm a cuddly girl. I like my naughty stuff. I've gone back to being a sugar addict. I'm very naughty. But in that time, I couldn't eat the junk food. I couldn't eat the processed food. I couldn't even eat sugar. It just made me feel sick. I couldn't even eat meat. So in that whole 12-month period, even though I didn't really lose a lot of weight, which I'm always arguing with them about, my girlfriend had come over and juiced 2 heads of broccoli for me every day, and I had to drink it because broccoli boosts your immunity system. So it was that type of food, and I was drinking 6 litres of water a day. My system was so detoxed. It was because it had to get rid of the chemo every day. This is the time that I started seeing spirit. They were right in front of me, and it was freaky. It was like, whoa, what is going on? I'm in hospital rooms and I'm holding conversations with people. Nurses are walking and go, who are you talking to? And I'm like, well, this guy here. And they're like, there is no one there. Describe what he looked like. So I described what this person looked like, what they were wearing. Then they just look at me and they go, that person died in that bed last night.
Wow.
So all of these things started to come ahead. My great-great-great-grandmother, who they believe died of breast cancer, she was around me all the time, and that even my husband was able to smell the kerosene. That's how I knew she was around, because she used to iron clothes to make money back in the day, really back in the day. And I could just smell this kerosene all the time. And I'd always ask everyone, can you smell that? Can you smell that? And it wasn't until one time when my husband said, I'm so sick of this smell and I can't find it. And he opened the door and there was this apparition, all this like grey mist, and he just walked through it and dissipated. And he said, did I just walk through my first ghost? I said, yeah, you did.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
It's all these things that come into your life. And it was because I was going off track. And guess what? It was a hard lesson. It was a scary lesson. I had to fight for my life. I had to make really hard choices, but they helped me. And I really believe it was the hour meditation I did every day, as well as the medical. And I lost friends because I chose to do the hospital way. I had people say I should be able to heal myself, being a big healer. Well, no. People in this world have been given amazing abilities and amazing intelligent thoughts and can create this. I'm also going to trust that. So that's the reason why I'm here. My little girl was 8. I wasn't going anywhere.
Unbelievable. And isn't it interesting that healers often are the most unwell people? Like, things go terribly wrong health-wise. But it's
because
like
we take too much on.
Yeah.
We take on other people's stuff as well because we're all empaths.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's the last thing we think about, isn't it? It's the last thing we think, oh, I've got a cold, or I've got this, or I've got that. And we just assume that it's a bug going round. But it's an energetic thing that we've opened ourselves up to. But, you know, one of the other things that we often hear about is spiritual awakening is a very lonely path. It's not for the faint-hearted. And what you mentioned there, Kathy, about how your friends, well, you thought they were friends, but they weren't really. They were co-enablers, weren't they?
And they were not to be seen,
No.
And it was much real friends that you know, stood up and helped me. They were the ones that, excuse me, they're the ones that cooked family dinners for me. They're the ones that took my child to school for me. And to this day, I'll always be grateful.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the people you least expect You
Oh, yeah.
least expect. I know that when, my husband recently went through what he went through with all his medical stuff, the people that would be by my side were the last ones I expected. A couple I wasn't surprised, but others I thought, I've only known you for a very short period of time, but they were with me the whole way through.
It is heartbreaking, but then it makes you really look at your life and be thankful for the people that come into our life at the right time, because it's really true. There are people that stay for us for our whole life. There are people that come to us when we need them, just as we come to others when they need us. So one thing I've learned is I could probably count my friends on one hand, people who I really trust. Also being an empath, when you do go out, even today, you will find out who your real friends are. If you go to a lunch, if you're invited to lunch or for dinner and suddenly it's like, oh, you're a psychic medium, tell me who's around me right now. You're not a circus monkey, okay? I always, I stole this from John Edward. I hope he doesn't, sue me or anything.
He probably won't be listening. You're pretty safe.
Just say to them now, oh no, I'm not ready to do that. I'm not open for that. I haven't done my meditation. I'm not in place. Okay. Because you find who your real friends are, because they just want you for you. They want you for your personality. They don't want you for messages. And people who always want to invite you or always want to be close to you but constantly asking you questions, needing verification, they're not your real friends. They're people that are attracted to your energy because they should probably be doing it themselves, but they're just lazy and they just want you to do all the hard work. All of my real friends, they've never requested me to constantly give them validation or messages. And if they do, I think it's quite funny. They book online and they book a reading with me, and I'll see this message come through and I'll go, oh, okay. Angela obviously needs a reading done. And I think that's beautiful that they honour me in that way, because this too is my business. It's how I make my money. It's how I get to actually work from home and still be able to fit in all the beautiful spiritual things that I want to do. So I think it's really blessed.
You're very fortunate also that the people that knew you from, the Kathy prior to this awakening, and have travelled with you and blossomed with you, those few people or those few friends, because I find that it can be very difficult for people that knew you as being Kathy that person and now you're Kathy this person. They can't handle that. They're kind of stuck. You no longer, you're a round peg in a square hole, and they can't really cope with that. And I feel that that's some of the loneliness that happens when you grow and expand in your own life and your own spirituality as well. A lot of people don't grow. And so that's part of the leaving behind and part of the loss. So if you have those friends that can move with you, and especially book sessions, that's fantastic.
I'm proud of me, Lisa. On the last census, I wrote down that I was a psychic medium.
Wow.
Now when I go into doctors, dentists, and they always say, what is your occupation? I write psychic medium. I used to always write full-time caregiver, homemaker. Yes. Because people would judge you. And it's quite funny because people will read it and they'll kind of do a double take, and then they'll look at you and they'll go, oh, what does that mean? Do you see dead people? Oh. And I always go, I like to prefer to say I help people on their spiritual journey. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's becoming more popular, isn't it? It's becoming more acceptable, I should say.
Yeah.
And do you find if you say that, people go, oh, is my mum here?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And that's when you just do the John Edward, I'm sorry, I'm not in that space right now.
I'm not in that space. I did want to talk to you about your book, if that's okay. One of the things that I really liked about it is that you explain what everything means, what the terms mean, because in the beginning of this discussion, I mentioned about the clairs, and you explained what the clairs were. And in your book, you explain a lot of the jargon, a lot of the language that people may not understand what certain words mean. For example, it's something really simple like a medium. You know, people know what a psychic is because psychics have been around forever. Everybody's had their cards read. But a lot of people don't understand what a medium is. They think it's something like...
oh, yes, the lady with the big hair.
The lady with the big hair. I love it to pieces.
Yeah. That's her job. Her TV show.
That's her thing.
And that's her thing. That's what she's known as. Same as the gentleman who does the psychic taxi. Yeah. And he does ask if they're open for messages, but who wouldn't be open for messages? Come on, I've never met someone who said no to messages.
No, that's right.
And that's how they've found their fortune, their fame. That's how they make their living. Good on them. Everyone should have their own niche. They're very comfortable in doing that. Very, very public. Very, very. People think, okay, and this is the downside when you book an hour's reading with a psychic medium, right? They're expecting bam, 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 like they see on the Tyler Henry show, okay? Mm. Now, he's an amazing psychic. I love his books. I love watching him. I'm the crazy one that sat up to 2 o'clock in the morning to watch the Netflix series as soon as it came on and cried for 6 hours straight. I absolutely adore him. But he freely admits that when he goes to record someone, they spend a whole day with them. He's there with them for 10 hours. He's not getting those bam, bam, bam so close and so fast within that 30-minute hour session. He is spending a whole day with these people and then the editing and they're picking out. So it does make our job harder, the little home psychic medium that people come to, because they're still expecting that message after message after message after message. As you know, a psychic is a person who reads energy. So as soon as someone comes into my reading room, I'm not going to lie, I put them in front of a nice big wall of white cupboards. You can probably, so I can see all their beautiful energy right behind them. I'm a lazy psychic medium, Lisa. I use everything that will help me be able to get into their energy and understand. So therefore, when I'm connecting with their energy, I'm feeling all their aches and pains. I'm being shown everything about them. So then I start to tell them, oh, you've done something to your right knee, or what the hell did you just do to your right toe? And people then start to relax because what I'm giving them makes sense to them. They're like, oh, yeah, I just kicked it coming in on your stair. It hurts like bloody hell. So then they're relaxing more, hence their energy is relaxing more, hence I'm feeling more safe, hence I'm opening up more to the spiritual realm and allowing their beautiful loved ones to come in. So over the last 20-odd years, I've had a lot of education by my beautiful angels and spiritual team on how to connect. Just as Tyler Henry, he was showing books and books and books of symbols. I'm not as good as that. I wouldn't be able to remember that many symbols. I have my basic 100 symbols that I use for readings to explain what people are trying to share with me. Sometimes they give me new stuff and I've got to work really hard. I don't like those readings, working hard and fun. But that's what you do. You have to work out your own way of connecting with the spiritual realm and with loved ones. So it's great that we've got the Tyler Henrys out there and the Teresas, and because it's helping people understand that, you know, death isn't the end. Energy will never die. And when we pass over, it's only our physical body and our brain that passes on. Our beautiful mind and our beautiful soul, our energy crosses to the other side, and we can still connect with that. So we can then help people who are stuck here and very much in grief, wanting to have either answers what wasn't said or done before that person passed. So many times I get asked where the will is. So many times I get asked, you know, such and such has gone against the will and this is happening. Can you give us more instructions on what we should be doing? It's interesting. Or where did you hide this? I get a lot of where did you hide this? A lot of people will still hide money under the floorboards and things like that. So people want to know where things are hidden in the house because they haven't been able to find them. So a lot of that does come in, but a lot of the need for actual closure. And I believe that's why I do this job, because I help people not only find their own way to connect, their own spiritual pathway, they also can get closure. Grief will stay with you forever. I don't care what anyone says. Grief is a very strong emotion and you will miss people forever. because they're no longer here. We physically want to ring them and say, how many spoons of tuna do I put in the tuna casserole? You want to have that physical connection, that hug. You can feel, you can sense, you can get hugs, but energetic hugs, very different to physical hugs. So you just need to allow people to understand how the spiritual world is going to connect with them in this world. And I think it helps quite a lot of people be able to then move on more with their life. So
I agree. I did want to ask you something. In your book, you mentioned that you visited heaven 3 times and that it brought you great comfort. What happened?
Heaven's a great place. I do believe I crossed over in one of my theatre operations, in one of my operations during all of those, because when I was discovered with cancer, as soon as you go into a hospital, they're going to find more things wrong with you. And I can remember they were I had to go under for the tumours. I had to go under to get the portacath in. I had to go under to get serial cysts removed. One of those, I came out and I was just like to my husband, oh, my God, I just went to the best place. You would not believe it. And I just described to him where I went. And so to me, it was such an amazing, beautiful, it's hard to describe, but it was just so peaceful and you just felt so loved. There was nothing you could do or say wrong there. Like, it was just the most amazing thing. And I was checking with the nurse and I said, did something go wrong with my operation? And she just looked at me really funny. So they would never confirm or deny, because obviously I could sue them if they probably did kill me. I have no idea. But I do believe that on the table I did go and come back. And during my sessions with Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, when every day I would lie down and I would listen to a Doreen Virtue meditation, because she has such a boring, monotone voice. It was the only way I could drift off. And in this time, I can remember using that every day. I would lie down at 12 and I'd stay there till 1, and I'd feel them put a big suction cap on my head, and I would feel them removing all the negative energy, all the cancer, anything that wasn't for my highest good at that time. And they used to send me on wonderful journeys, and 2 of them were up. I used to see my Nana, and she used to greet me very quickly at the edge of it. You could feel you were entering into home. I like to call it home. And she'd be like, it's not your time. You shouldn't be here. You can't stay here for long. But they'd always give you lovely words of encouragement, of love, of you can do it. And you'd come back with more knowledge. The best way to describe it, I'd see beautiful colours, all the beautiful chakra colours, but they weren't really vibrant. They were more like they were encased in a beautiful mist. So I always used to view it as I know it sounds silly, but if you've ever parachuted and you've caught a cloud and you've gone through the cloud and it's all very rainy and very misty, or if you've walked through mist up on a mountain, it wasn't cold. There was no sensation, but it was like I had that misty vision and it was all mixed, the beautiful chakra colours of a rainbow. And then I would see all my beautiful loved ones. And I always knew it was Nana, because she used to use her energy enough to create the physical body that I knew her in. So that would have taken a lot of energy for her to do that, to matriculate in that form for me. But I didn't see any tunnels. I didn't see any white lights. So therefore I knew I didn't die. I knew I was just allowed to go home for a visit. I've spoken to a lot of people since then, because you know what it's like when you have a really cool experience, you start chatting with people, and then you find out more and more people. I can remember my pest man, he had he was so excited and he went, I had a near-death experience. He said, but I didn't see any dark tunnel. He said it was all beautiful, bright white light and it was all gorgeous. And it was like people were singing to me, and it was like I was just taken out of my body while they worked on me, because he had a car accident. And he said, and then I was just gently drifted back down. And he said it was just gorgeous. But they did confirm to him that he had left, there was no pulse. So they did have to work to bring him back in. But it's interesting. It's not scary. I've not met one person who I've spoken to, and I've spoken to a few about leaving their bodies, and that nobody has come back scared. If anything, people have come back more calm. People have come back and gone, well, there's nothing to be scared of. There's no hell. There's nothing. We're not going to be judged. We're not going to be treated badly. We're just going to be accepted and loved. We're going to look back at our lessons on what we learned here, and then we're going to move forward. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think when you talk to people, start bringing this out in the open, it's astonishing how many people have had experiences, whether it's near-death experience or whether they've seen a loved one that's passed over or a pet, or people have always had these people have had these amazing experiences, but they've not wanted to share them because of being criticised or people not believing them or what have you. I was going to ask you, how does spirit appear to you? You mentioned this in the book, and I was wondering, do they appear as a full body or as a maybe?
Well,
you've already
I would love it. I would love it if they would again keep coming to me in full body, but I don't eat cleanly anymore and I do not drink 6 litres of water. So I have to work really hard to see spirit. So a lot of time for me to actually understand who I'm talking to, because you want to get evidence for the person that you're reading for. So I'm not the best with names. I'm very good with letters and I'm very good with numbers. But if there is a name of a famous person, it's quite funny. So if I'm reading and the person who's crossed over is Diane, I always see Princess Diana. The other day I was reading and I saw my cousin. So I said it's either the name is Jenny or Jennifer. So those type of things help me in that way. Then I will ask, what do you look like? Please give me a description. So then they will tend to give me images of people that I know that were very, very similar to them. Okay. So that way I can say, oh, they're this height, they've got a pudgy belly, they've got this colour hair, blah, blah, blah. And the person on the other side is like, yeah. I can remember last week I got a gentleman came through and I'm like, oh, my God, it's all about the suit. All I'm seeing is the suit, and I'm hearing I'm very dapper in the suit and there's very much a tie. I don't normally see people in suits. And she's like, oh, yeah, he wore a suit every day of his life and he did look dapper. We used to call him Dapper Dan because he looked very dapper in his suit. So it's those type of things that you have to, I mean, I've had a lot of things too that in my early days, I thought, oh, I'm not saying that. That's just stupid. I can remember one time I was reading for this woman and all I saw was ladybugs everywhere. Ladybugs on teacups, ladybugs on teapots, ladybugs on plates, ladybug figurines. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. This isn't a normal sign. People normally see butterflies or dragonflies. And, I didn't give it to her, even though all through this reading, and at the end I said, I just have to tell you because I'm now getting ladybugs landing on me to the point that I'm being covered with them. This person is just sending you ladybugs. And she just went, oh, thank you. She loved ladybugs. I really now know that you were talking to my beautiful grandmother because everything in her house had a ladybug on it. That's all she collected. Everything you said connected to her, but I was waiting for that one thing because that was our sign to each other. You know how some people before they pass, they say, what are you going to send me? And she said, and because you've told me that now, yeah, I know you really were talking to my grandmother.
I loved the story in your book also. You give, dotted throughout your book, you give examples of readings that you've done. And I loved the one about Pirate Pete. I thought that was gorgeous. So people, you have to buy Kathy's book, which I'll give more information on towards the end of our discussion today. But I have a big question, and I would like to know your experiences. Do pets go to heaven?
Yes, they do. Pets, I love doing animal readings. I love doing animal healings. Pets come to us to teach us unconditional love, and sometimes they come to us in the form of animals because that is the fastest they can get to us in a time of need that we need them. It's sad that they're just not with us. They have a shorter lifespan, but they never ever leave us. So when they do pass, they very much are taken up into what I call home, heaven, spiritual realm. That's where they connect with their own family. So if their own mother, father have crossed over, they tend to connect over with that little joyful little, I'm going to use a dog, their connection with their mother, because animals all have emotions like we do. They grieve like we do. And when we do separate them from their families, it is heart-wrenching, even though they know that is what they're here for. They know their life purpose is to go off and teach other people about love or through different lessons. But what's interesting with animals, I've never found this not to be true. They come back to you just as quick. So spirit animals are always in your home, and they are going to stay with you for your whole entire life. And when you cross over, they're going to be up there waiting for you, okay? You can hear their little claws walking down, the hallway at night when it's deadly silent. You can... I've got a cat, Whiskers. He passed away in this house. Every other cat I have will not sit on the spot of my bed where Whiskers is, because he's always there. I see Whiskers run up and down the hall. Your peripheral vision is how you will see spirit really easy, because it's not the vision that we use all the time, so it's not overworked. We're very lazy with peripheral vision. So when you see that shadow, when you see that flash of light, that's spirit, that's animals, that's loved ones, that's your spiritual team. They're showing you they're around you, right? So the more you relax and allow your peripheral vision to work for you, the more you're going to see that beautiful loved one still lying in the bed with you, or see that beautiful cat taking prime position and not letting any other cat have it. And you can feel the weight of them on the bed. You can sometimes get the whiff of their doggy breath as they come in and wake you up. And they come to you in dreams. And when you wake up, my God, the tears pour. Because when you get a visitation in a dream, whether it be a loved one, human, or an animal, it's like they're just there. And when you wake up, you expect them to be there.
Yes. And also just touching on the animals that you have as your own animal companions, domestic animals, but also, animal spirits. I personally have had, I had an amazing experience, and this isn't interviews, not about me, but just really super briefly. I had crocodile coming to me for a few nights in a row. This is years ago, back in 2005, actually. And I thought, I wasn't really aware of what these animals meant at that time, all those years ago. And I kept thinking, I thought it was a nightmare. I thought, why do I keep dreaming of crocodiles? Anyway, within a matter of maybe a month at the very most, I had the worst thing happen to me in my life. I was defrauded by my business partner, who was also my solicitor. And I lost everything.
Everything.
Financially, I lost everything. And I mentioned somewhere along the line, how conversations cross into different things. I was talking about this experience that I'd had with the loss of, finances and the betrayal and all of this sort of thing. And whoever I was speaking to, and I mentioned about the crocodiles, I said, it just keeps getting worse. And whoever this person was, and I cannot remember for the life of me, said, oh my God, crocodile was there to warn you about the betrayal. That's what crocodile is there for. Crocodile was your spirit guide, your guardian, or one of them, and was there to tell you to watch your back. And that's kind of, the beginning of me learning about what spirit animals represent and when they come to you in the dreams as well. Yeah. So I kind of segued a little bit there, but...
but it's all important. It's all very important.
It's all important, and it's all one and the same, I think, Kathy. It's like whether we're here in physical form or whether we've transitioned to the spirit world, which is pretty much this one, except not physical, and whether we're humans or whether we're animals or mythological legends, everything is in existence. If we can imagine it, it exists. That's my belief. Yeah, so look, I think that we should tell people where they can get your book, The Afterlife Mentor. And the full version of this is The Afterlife Mentor, a psychic medium's practical, emotional and spiritual guide to death. Where can people get hold of this book, Kathy?
Well, because it's self-published, it's only on Amazon. So you can find out more information on my website, www.angelconnections.com.au, and just click on the tab that says My Book. You can buy it in Kindle or iPad form, as well as hard book cover. I am proud of my book.
Oh, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. There's so much in it, so much information and so many wonderful examples of spirit coming through. And I feel that, it will help people to understand a little bit more about this side of life. Can we call it this side of life?
I've had so many beautiful emails and messages about it. I've had so many people buy more than one copy because they've sent it to people who've got stage 4 cancer or to people who've just lost people. And I just think that's what I wrote it for. I wrote it so people could understand, and there's a whole section in there on how you can start your own spiritual journey. There's different ways to learn to connect. That's what I really feel my life purpose here is to help people find their own way and to help people through a really awful part of their life. So
it's beautiful. And if we can share that, we don't, when we finish here in the physical, we keep going. This is not the end by any means at all.
No way.
To sort of finish up here, I always ask, like each week, for a practical tip for our listeners. And is there a simple exercise or a daily ritual that our listeners can try to maybe strengthen their own intuitive connection or help them to open a little to their own awareness?
Well, I'm not a big one for routines because, as I said, I'm a very lazy psychic. My probably biggest one, and it will not only help you connect with self, your own energy, it will actually help you remove yourself from negative energy around you. Just wherever you find the time, just take in 3 deep belly breaths. So if you've got a situation or a choice that you need to make coming up, or if someone's upsetting you, or if you're just sitting on the toilet and there's no dogs or animals in there with you, no kids.
Oh, that won't happen. That won't happen. No, I'm sorry. The toilet is the annual general meeting. They all go in. I'm sure your cats
you sit down.
Oh.
But if you find that time, but they're not silly. They know she's in there and I've got her. But if you ever find the time, just do your 3 deep breaths. So breathe in through the nose for 3 counts. Hold in your belly. Now, this is what's really important that people don't do. If you look at children do belly breathing. They breathe in and out through their bellies. As we get older, because we're taught to suck in your belly, you've got to look slim, you've got to look thin. We do a lot of shoulder breathing. So you watch your people's shoulders go up and down. What you have to do is you have to take your breath all the way into your belly and you have to hold it there for 4 counts and then exhale through your mouth for 5, okay? It sounds hard, but it's really not. And when you actually start to do this type of breath work, just do it for 3 deep breaths. You are starting not only putting new energy, circulating new energy through your body, removing anything negative that's stuck, you're also exciting your beautiful vagus nerve, which is all to do with your gut intuition, okay? I could go on for yonks telling you about scientific to spiritual, how they all align. But it's that holding of the breath in the belly that is actually exciting that vagus nerve, that is taking up the thoughts or the concerns that are in your actual environment. That's going up into your beautiful mind and they're working out whether it's safe. Do I run? Do I stay? And then they're taking all that information from not only from your chakras, but from you, making your vagus nerve very active, and then they're helping you with making choices. You don't need to go to other people to ask, should I leave him? Should I stay? Should I take the job? Should I move? You need to start trusting your own physical body and your own beautiful soul. Our physical body is a roadmap. If you find a good palm reader, go for one because it's amazing. Everything is written on here. But really just start doing those 3 deep breaths and you will start to feel a shift. I will guarantee that, because if you actually take the time to learn that breathing, it will not only calm you down, it'll de-stress you, it'll make you more open to shifts and changes.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. And finally, if you could share one message from Spirit, one message for the world, what would that be?
For the world? Well, you got me there because your mother's been behind me all this time. But all right.
She's been around a lot. She came through last night. My husband got up just after midnight and he saw our oldest poodle standing at the desk where my mum's ashes are and her photo. And he had one paw, he was standing up. He had one paw on the table and he was just looking up as if he was looking into someone's face. Steve freaked out into the next galaxy. But he said, your mother was here last night, so you've just said she's standing behind.
Oh, see, because she must have known you're talking to a psychic medium, honey.
Yep, she's an opportunist, that's for sure.
All right, how funny is that? All around her is birds, beautiful, beautiful birds. But anyway, okay, so I'm just going to ask and connect him with Archangel Michael. I'm just hearing the words, think peace and peace will come.
Beautiful.
It's true, what we think about, we connect with. So
that's a beautiful message.
Peace will come.
That's a beautiful message for us to exit stage right. And Kathy, if people want to follow you, you can be found on Facebook at Angel Connections Kathy, and that's Kathy with a K. Instagram is angelconnections_Kathy, and of course your website angelconnections.com.au, where people can purchase or download your wonderful book. I highly recommend it. Kathy Lather, thank you so much for your time today. It has been wonderful speaking to you and an absolute delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And that's where we'll leave today's episode. So thank you so much for spending this time with me on Enlightened Connections. If you'd like to stay connected, you'll find me at lisaastonmichael.com and on YouTube at Lisa Aston Michael, Instagram and Facebook and all the usuals. And all the links are in the show notes for you as well. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you followed or subscribed to the podcast and perhaps shared it with a friend who might also find inspiration here. It really helps this community grow. So until next time, remember, every connection, whether people or animals, brings us closer to healing and understanding. And if you'd like to support this show, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/enlightened with Lisa. And there's a couple of freebies there for you as my way of saying thank you so much for your time and for listening. And stay safe until next week.